Hello everybody, my name is Ab Sesay. I'm a commercial advertising photographer, and today we are here shooting the new Canon R5. The thing I'm really excited about is I love the increased megapixels. I'm one of those people who always like to take one image and then format it for like multiple different things. So the fact that this is 45 megapixels with this new CMOS sensor, for me is unbelievable. One of the things that really excited me about this camera was the viewfinder. I come from using a traditional DSLR, and so the viewfinder is very important for me that I have zero blackout. I like to see edge to edge, and with this camera, I would say the viewfinder is pretty amazing. One of the features that I was using, and when I was just using the viewfinder, is I was using the face detection eye autofocus feature. I was laying on the ground, kind of in an uncomfortable position, and the camera just locked onto the model's face no matter what little movements I made, and it was pretty much spot on. Even working in a really contrasty situation, my model had like a lot of hair, and I feel like nothing ever fooled the face detection of the eye autofocus with this camera. We get edge-to-edge focus points here, so no matter where my model's face is, I can have the focus go right there. Oftentimes, I like to frame shots so my model's like on one side of the frame, and with this, I don't have to recompose, which is amazing. I'm so used to composing to the center of the screen and then recomposing my shot, which inevitably takes up more time. Your model could move. With this camera, it's locked onto her face the whole time, and I was really, really excited using that feature, and it was pretty much spot on the entire time. Not pretty much, the entire time. So another thing I really love about this camera is the dual card slots. There's one CF Express and there's one SD. Therefore, this camera is built to kind of handle two completely different workflows. Of course, when you're in 8K video, you're gonna be shooting to that CF Express the whole time. The SD is much less expensive, it's much more readily available, and it has that card as well. So the things I really like about that is, A, if I'm shooting video and I'm not shooting 8K, I can use both cards. I can shoot to both cards at the same time. So if I was shooting something in which I wanted like increased backup, I have that feature. And I also have the ability to kind of expand the total amount of space I have in the camera in terms of onboard memory. So having two card slots, when I'm done with one, I can switch to another one if I'm in a situation in which I don't want to have to open the card door and swatch my cards out. So really, really happy that we have this feature. It's definitely something we've been waiting for. Canon, thank you. Another shot that we're doing today is going to be outside in full sun, in which the EVF was key. This has a 5.7 million dot EVF that refreshes at 120 frames, which is amazing because it makes the model move really smooth. Another thing I really like is that there's basically no blackout when you're shooting with this. So it feels very much like a DSLR, and I feel like I can continuously connect with my model. I'm also able in this very bright sunlight to review my images to make sure that I have it, or else in instances like this, I wouldn't be able to see anything. So the EVF was rock solid, and for me, coming from a DSLR, it felt very, very natural. This camera also represents a first for Canon with in-body stabilization. Used in conjunction with the IS already in their lenses, you have up to 8 stops of correction. So previously, let's say if you're shooting like 105mm doing a portrait and you wanted to have your shutter speed above 1/100th of a second, you can be confident that you can go 8 stops below that with your shutter speed and still get a steady image. Yes, your hands still have to be relatively stable, but it's gonna bring more opportunity when we have to shoot available light in situations in which we don't have a tripod and we just want a handhold, which makes this camera increasingly more flexible depending on what shooting situation you're in. So everything I've been talking about today is a huge benefit that we owe to the DIGIC X processing, the 8K video, the 12 frames per second mechanical shutter, the 20 frames per second silent shutter, the fact that it can continuously autofocus whether it's doing 12 or 20 frames per second, the in-body stabilization, and more, we all owe to the new DIGIC X processor inside this camera. I love the fact this camera has a joystick and the control wheel that we're all used to, and I really, really love the hand feel of the grip. For me, it balances really well, and if a camera feels good in my hand, I'm shooting all day. There's less fatigue, and it becomes easier to get your shots. It becomes easy to shoot handheld, and all the controls are right where you would expect them, especially if you shot Canon before. Another great thing about this camera is its connectivity. You have 2.4 and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, as well as FTP and mobile connectivity. Along with the release of the R5, Canon has also released 4 lenses and 2 teleconverters. They've released an 85mm f2.0 IS USM. They released a 100mm to 500mm 4.5 to 7.1 IS USM, a 600mm f11 STM IS as well, an 800mm f11 IS STM lens. They've also released 2 teleconverters, a 1.4x and a 2x respectively. So if you're already a Canon shooter, moving into this camera is going to be completely seamless. Having to shoot over 200 productions a year, oftentimes needing both film and video, having one camera that can do both of those at a super high level for me is going to be amazing. Being able to pull stills from an 8K video, amazing. I mean, that's pretty much a 33 megapixel still. The designers I work with are absolutely gonna love that. Not to mention the 45 megapixels, which allows me all different kind of crops. If we have to shoot for Instagram, if we have to shoot for video, in which we need a 16:9 image, I can pull all of those faithfully from the image that's produced by this. I definitely want to thank Canon for getting me hands-on with this camera today. I also want to thank our model, Madlena. See her information in the description below. I also want to make sure that you guys comment, subscribe, and ring that bell. I will see you later.